hot off the heels of Tour de Endurance Season 2. The Team Funnel Descent Stadium has been refurbished for the Season 3 qualifiers, hosted by the Serpent Speeders. We have 4 great events on the docket for you today, and there's 20 event brawl for those 12 qualifier spots. All of them, no groups in this one. It is a straight up down to the wire battle that Ramen Powder, of course, is joining me for.
I feel like just yesterday, when we crowned a champion, the Party Crashers in Season 2, they will be auto-qualified. They won't need to qualify, so as the other podium finishers, the Green Peacocks and the Blue Brigade, and of course the Serpent Speeders, our hosts, also going to be auto-qualifying. Those that didn't make it out of the B-League, the Cheese Balls, the Honeycombs, the Crystal Pistols, and the Cosmonauts, they did not qualify for the qualifiers, but other teams that did, 20 teams, will be participating in this 4-event brawl to see who qualifies, and to see the Serpent Speeders do an example run for this first event, block bumping.
A classic event from Season 1, it's back in action here, so you see, it's all about team synergy. You've got to move out of the way of your competitors as they come down to smack that block, and that last one, that would be an invalid push for the Serpent Speeders, kind of them to show us what an invalid push looks like as they knock the block just slightly out of the track. It doesn't matter, it could be just barely out, it is still a completely invalid push, just like that. It's got to be in the track completely.
So the Serpent Speeders, that's really showing you what you don't need to do, what you need to avoid, as we see Team Sunrise down to the Navy Seals, our 20 teams there in the championship order of Season 2. Going in that order, Team Sunrise to start us off. The home team of Season 2 who just missed the podium, trying to make up for it here and easily qualify.
That first push wasn't too bad. The second one comes flying down. Too fast for the cameraman almost. The third one was fantastic, and that fourth one gets them up beyond the 85 mark. And that's going to be an 87 push. The Serpent Speeders, their invalid run was around 90, so 85 is a pretty good push for the opening run.
You saw that third marble just rotating the block, but did not get of the run out of the track, and 87.95, that is a very solid push for Team Sunrise. Now the Moneymakers in run 2 got 5th place in last season, trying to qualify again for the second time. Good push, and then an even better push for the second one.
And it looks like all the last 2 ones absolutely went completely haywire. It's not even near 75. That's a 73 for the Moneymakers. As you see that third, oh dear, that third marble is pushed out of the track, as is the fourth. Just too far away from the block and right in the middle of the course. It gives the Moneymakers only a 73.4.
Yeah, they focused too much on recorrecting the block after it got out of the track, and that is clearly not holding up to the standards of Team Sunrise. As we see Croissant Crew go down now with a couple of marbles pushing it. They have experience in this event before, and they will get that one dislodged, but I think this will be better than the Moneymakers.
But still not quite close to Team Sunrise. It's around 76 for the Croissant Crew, so Team Sunrise are pacing the field pretty extensively at the moment. Look at that last push. That was dreadful. They didn't really push the block very far, and they got one dislodged. A 76 flat is good enough for second, but I don't think that's going to hold for very long.
Now it's the Hell Clowns. You can see these marbles, they need to get out of the way once they've pushed the block. It's not over yet after you've pushed the block. Hopefully see more of that team synergy with the Hell Clowns, but they have one stalling in the middle of the track, and that is absolutely not what you need to do. They did have good strength to get up to an 85, so they'll be second place. And the Hell Clowns, it could have been a lot better from what we've seen in the past runs.
No, it definitely could have been a lot better. If that second marble was up toward the block, that third one would have been an absolute smasher, and they could have gone up towards 90 or perhaps even 100, which we haven't seen yet today. But 85.25, still just behind Team Sunrise for second place as the Grayscale Season 1 champions, looking to smash the qualifiers here and get into Season 3 without a problem.
Yeah, they didn't need to qualify last season, but look at those pushes, second and third marble, huge pushes, and the fourth one as well, and that is past 100. You said that wasn't past 100, but the Grayscales have put that to rest. They have come out in the qualifiers very strong here, almost getting to the record of the Silly Slimes.
I can't say anyone is too surprised with that one. An absolutely smashing run by the Grayscales, a 105.90, absolutely fantastic for the Grayscales, who of course shouldn't be too surprised. They were previous champions, of course, with Steel Force, who have never actually done this event, so this is going to be a completely new experience for them.
Solid first 2 pushes. What can the other 2 do? Decent third one, but no, the fourth one barely nudged it at all. And that's not going to crack 90. It was looking good from the first few marbles, but the last marble just couldn't get it that extra oomph. But it's still a decent run, I'd have to say, for a team that is a rookie in this event.
That third push was actually very strong. Third pushes are very hard to master, fourth one even harder, but 86.45 up toward the top 3. Still not a bad run for the Steel Force, and the Sweet and Sours will now go next. They have experienced this before. It was a long time ago though, so have to see if they can still hold this up as they come down the ramp here. The first one is it's solid. Second one is pretty strong, but they tilt the block out of the track. They got to recenter it, and they do. It's back in the track, but all that recentering will get them only up towards 73. That is not going to get them anywhere in the standings.
Yeah, it's so much about making sure you have a clean run as well, so you don't have to worry about getting that block back into the track. And so we can see some of those other teams just had a much better time than the Sweet and Sour. 73.5, that is the penultimate position, 6th out of 7. So now we can see the Silly Slimes that had the record in Season 1. We'll see how they do here.
They got the record back in Season 1 qualifiers, and no one has beaten them since, because we haven't seen this event very much. But even then, Silly Slimes have a lot to live up to, considering their previous history here. And they can't even get very far beyond 80. That's still not a bad push in the grand scheme of things, but I imagine they expected a bit more from that.
We saw some good teamwork from the first model getting out of the way of the second. That is something that the other teams haven't really been able to do, but we needed to see more of that raw strength from the Silly Slimes. It's only 5th place out of 8 runs.
Now the Marauders, the winners of Season 1's block bumping. Out of the 16, they cracked 105, so if anyone can beat those grayscales, it's got to be these guys. They come down and hit the block. The first 2 and the third one are fantastic. Here comes that 4th one, trying to push it beyond, and hardly even pushes it very far at all, but it is up towards 90. Still a very strong push overall.
That is comfortably going to be 2nd place behind the grayscales, who made a very good mark, but the Marauders coming out strong, trying to go back to their Season 1 form.
And 91.70 is definitely their Season 1 form. As we go to the halfway point, the White Knights. We'll see how the standings look after this. We'll see how they go. The White Knights, of course. Not a great Season 1 performance, but they had some couple of smashes in there. We'll see how this goes. 2nd and 3rd, they've pushed it out of the track. Here comes the 3rd one, and oh my goodness, what a hit. But the 4th one, that 3rd one, absolutely carried them up towards 86 there.
Yeah, we saw some great pushes there. Not even just making up for the block. They had a huge push. And the last one, they had some of the marbles getting in their way, which means that it's not quite breaking the 90 mark like we saw in Marauders. But it is still 5th out of 10th, which is not too bad for the White Knights.
At the halfway point so far, White Knights are at that halfway mark. Hellclowns in 6th, but the Grayscales lead the pack extensively over the Marauders, who are even then a bit of a gap over Team Sunrise as we get into the second half of the group with the Citrus Sprinters first.
The first marble going down, decent push, hitting it a couple of times. Then the second one also pretty decent, but then you have those marbles getting in the way, and the 4th one just goes way off to the side, and so it's not even going to track 80. You really need to have a good 3rd and 4th push in order to break that 80 and 90 mark.
Yeah, you can see that 4th one. It did push the block, but it pushed himself out. That's too much energy going out of the track rather than then toward the block, and that only going to get them 8th out of 11, which is not getting them anywhere. As Onion Union come next, of course, still happy to be in these qualifiers after a dreadful Season 2 performance. They're hoping to try and swing back in these qualifiers.
Ooh, that 2nd push looked very good, and 3rd one too. And you have one marble, stuck there in the middle, so that did lose a bit of energy. It's only a low 80 score for them, despite 2 pushes that looked pretty strong. Maybe they just didn't really have the raw strength that they needed.
Yeah, those 2nd and 3rd ones, there was pretty good team synergy there. And even that 4th one, he punches his teammate very hard into the block, but still on the 85-50. 6th place still right in the middle of the pack. That is where you want to be. You want to be slightly above that. Now we get into the B-League competitors from Season 2. The Neptune Nomads will lead this group.
Of course, the winner of the B-League trying to hit their maiden qualification here, and it's looking pretty good, I'd have to say. That 4th marble, a very good push, and that made up for what was going to be a middle of the pack. I think this is going to be close to 90.
That was a very good run. That was a case where the 4th marble, the anchor, gave it the best run, and up to an 89. Is that going to be good enough for a top 3? It is. In fact, it's good enough for 3rd place.
Yeah, as you said, that anchor that really came through, that puts them ahead of many of the other midfielders. But now the Jade Jockeys trying to get back into the big show after a shock DNQ last season. Will they be able to do it? Oh, the 2nd marble just does not give them any push, and the 4th marble just completely misses the block. What happened there?
Oh, goodness me, that was absolutely dreadful. There was two very strong pushes there, but that second one doesn't do anything. Third one was great, but look at this fourth one. I'm not even... Oh, my God. Moved the block about half a centimeter because he just bumps off his teammate. And despite that, they still beat 3 teams with only 2 marbles staying in the track.
One of them going careening off the course, and they still somehow, it is beside me how they beat 3 teams. Now we have the Crazy Chickens trying to do a bit better than that, hopefully. Oh, that second marble, very good. But then the third one comes very quickly, and I don't think they maximize their push there. And the fourth one also not great, but it is still a very good push. That second push really came through for the Crazy Chickens.
I actually think coming down pretty quickly might work pretty well because they're still moving forward. You can push more forward energy into your competitor, into your teammates. And 4th place, 88.65 for the 3rd place competitor of the B League. Crazy Chickens looking pretty good to maybe qualify here as Team Mayhem come in next.
Well then, I'll reserve my adjustment as we go into Team Mayhem. Oh, completely turning the block upon the first impact. And they're going to need a good push from their anchor to really get a good push here, but it is not going to be great. Oh, it's going to be close, mid-80s, I'd have to say. So they did bring it back a little, but it did not look good after the first 2 pushes.
Well, yeah, those first 2, probably the worst first 2 we've seen so far, but the 3rd and 4th one tried to pull it back with some raw strength up to 84.65. That's 10th place. Not great, but about the 80s is where most of the pack has been as we move on to the final 4 competitors, starting with Lagoon Platoon.
Lagoon Platoon barely got out of relegation from their last event of the B League, trying to make use of that here. Oh, but it's not looking great until the anchor marble comes down, who gets it almost to 90. That was a great push from the anchor marble.
Question is though, will that usurp the current 3rd place run of Neptune Nomads for 3rd place? Medals here are so important to get yourself into in those qualification spots. We'll have to see what the score is. And 89.60. Lagoon Platoon have snuck into 3rd place. With just 3 runners to go, that's going to be a very good start to this qualifiers.
Just what they need to qualify maybe, but there's still 3 events to go as we see the popsicles come down now. They have done this event before, I think. Then 1 marble comes, the next one, a 3rd one as well, but then the 4th one puts it all the way to 90. It did not look like it was that strong until the anchor marble came down. These last few marbles really coming through with the anchors, and I think this is going to go into 3rd place, usurp the Lagoon Platoon.
Look at that anchor. That was fantastic. 92.80 from the Popsicles. A fantastic run. Gets them into 2nd place. Popsicles looking to actually qualify. A lot of maiden possible qualifiers here as Condiment Kings come down next, looking to try and return to the main league from Season 1.
Maybe we're seeing that these teams are learning from the earlier runs. We're seeing so many of the anchors doing better here, but I don't think that was the case for the Condiment Kings. But despite that, they still also get a respectable run, high 80s for the Condiment Kings. That should be close to the top 5, I'd have to say.
Oh, I think it was because that 3rd push was very strong. That 3rd marble came down, transferring energy between his teammates who are all stuck against the block. 7th place, not a bad start considering there's only 1 runner to go, and it is, as per mentioned, the Navy Seals.
Navy Seals also barely got out of the B League, but did go in the A League in Season 1. So trying to return here. Will they be able to? Oh, that 2nd marble getting dislodged. A good push from the 3rd and 4th marbles. And that's past 90 as well. This might challenge for a top 2 spot.
I think it has 93. Popsicles were around 92. Navy Seals, massive 3rd hit there in the 4th one. Fantastic anchor despite spinning the block around. With a 93.05, Navy Seals will jump into 2nd place. That is a great start for them, but that does mean that the Grayscales have won this first event.
And it was not even close. Look at that, 105.9 to just 93.05. The Grayscales have come out swinging, trying to qualify before even the final event may be. But now we move on to a brand new event, the obstacle race, as we see the Gravitrax course. First time in Tour de Endurance.
It's going to be a doozy, this one. It's a track that none of these competitors have ever seen before, so it's a good thing these expedition teams, couple new ones in there, such as Bone Rattlers, are going to show us how it's done.
You can see the Bone Rattlers getting out in front, but no lead is safe in the obstacle maze course. And the Breakfast Burritos have taken it, and they will cross the line first, followed by the Bone Rattlers, then his Team Cameo in 3rd.
You see, let's see how everything can just go wrong here. You can find a very good line, like Breakfast Burritos right here. Perfect line down that section of track, and then get another good line down the end. It's all about finding the right line down the track. Otherwise, you will just fall back, as Super Cat's Eyes did terribly there. Team Cameo weren't quite in the pace either, but they were still keeping up. Breakfast Burritos with Egg, a big win there for the Expedition team. But now, we've got to get onto the main show with the first heat of the group.
So, of course, 4 marbles from 4 teams trying to battle it out here in each heat. Condiment Kings out in front. Then it's the Neptune Nomads who take the lead. Condiment Kings take it back.
That's a huge push by the Condiment Kings. Then they will stretch their way across the line. Neptune Nomads will win, and it's very close for that third place spot. But I just want to see that charge from the Condiment Kings down the stretch. Let's have a look at this.
Look at this duel between the Condiment Kings and the Neptune Nomads. Neptune Nomads take it, and then the Condiment Kings completely take back the momentum. So much of this event is about taking the momentum of your competitors, but also remember that this qualifiers is about your time. So despite the Condiment Kings, the Croissant crew not getting past the Sweet and Sours, that ground that they made up might prove dividends later.
And there you see the next group, Team Mayhem to the Crazy Chickens. They charge into the track, the White Knights to the lead early on, but here come the Hell Clowns. Fantastic line down the track. They've launched to a massive lead, but here comes Team Mayhem. Out of nowhere, they'll pass the White Knights for second as Hell Clowns pace the field at the front. Oh dear, and the Chickens crawling across the line at the end there. That's not going to do dividends for them at all.
Look at Team Mayhem here, in 3rd place, while the top 2 are fighting and losing ground, perhaps, on the rest. Here comes Team Mayhem out of nowhere, takes 2nd place, but the Hell Clowns, nice job of holding them off.
Let's see, that puts them overall. Hell Clowns jump into 1st, Team Mayhem jump into 3rd. Hell Clowns very close to breaking that 9-second mark, which could be critical for getting a win, but here you see Zinc, Bayo, Dawn, and Shamrock for this next group of competitors.
And we see the Jade Jockeys out in front. Steel Force, though, dueling with them. And it's very close between these two. I think it's going to be one of these two that gets the win. And it's the Steel Force that gets it ahead of the Jade Jockeys.
Team Sunrise in the green platoon. Team Sunrise were in it early on. They had the lead very briefly, but Jade Jockeys shoved them aside. Steel Force do the same. And then there's just a magnificent duel between these two for the front. Steel Force, have a look at it right here where they're blocked again. And then they finally find their way around on that right path. And they will win this race. Where will they slot in the overall standings? That's the most important part.
And it is only 6th place. Not as good as they would have hoped. Jade Jockeys right behind them in 7th. The other two, not good runs at all.
Alright, now the next heat, Heat 4. You see Navy Seals who just got 2nd and Grayscales who just got 1st. So they're looking to do even just as good here and try and confirm qualification. Grayscales are up there with Onion Union who've got a massive lead. But here come the Grayscales. Now they charge across in that little slalom section and just barely win over the Onion Union.
And the other two weren't even close. The Marauders and the Navy Seals, I think, especially at a slow time. This was a good duel up front by the Onion Union, trying to fend off the Grayscales. And when you've got the Grayscales behind you, you know it is going to be hard to fend them off. Grayscales, though, they took the lead there, and that is all they needed to get the win.
And you see that right there, just nudging off that obstacle. Could have been nudging off that obstacle, really slowed them down. They're in 6th and 7th, 10.381 for those two. Into the final heat with Citrus Sprinters, Silly Slimes, Moneymakers, and the Popsicles. A bunch of teams who need a good result after that first event.
And the Silly Slimes had a good lead, but here are the Moneymakers right on their tails, and they take the lead. Silly Slimes back on them now. Can the Moneymakers take it? No, but they get a nudge to the Silly Slimes, and the Silly Slimes, with that momentum, might have just improved their time there.
Fantastic battle. That's the best battle we've seen so far. Moneymakers, a bit of a bump from the Popsicles. They find the right line, almost past them there, and here comes the overtake. They take the lead, but the Silly Slimes say, not today, and pass them again into the slalom section. And that's going to get them the win here with another bump at the end, but look at this, only 10th and 11th for those two, while Citrus Sprinters and Popsicles 15th and 16th.
Way too much battling there, not thinking about the overall time in the big picture, but the Hell Clowns get the fastest time with Pennywise, followed by Soy of the Condiment Kings and Team Mayhem in the top 3. After event 2, as we see the Grayscales still hold the lead, Condiment Kings though in 2nd place, then it's the Hell Clowns rising 10 spots into 3rd after the halfway point.
It's not about being up high, it's about being on that cusp. And here's another newish event. We've taken balancing, we've doubled the size, we've taken 2 on at once. We've titled it Balance Battle. And these two expedition teams, the Royal Blues and Flash Fires, are going to show us how it looks. There's a lot of bumping and shoving in this one.
You see 2 finishers there for the Royal Blues. Much better teamwork, much better coordination for those two. That is what we want to see from the teams that are looking to qualify.
Flashfires had one come off immediately in that example, all the way back at 9. We'll hope that none of the real competitors do that, because that's going to really drag their score down. But at 420, you're going to see a lot of finishes in this one due to the wideness of the beam. But here comes the first round, the White Knights and the Onion Union.
And the Onion Union completely fell apart. Meanwhile, opposite for the White Knights, 3 finishers on the first run. That is fantastic from the White Knights, completely shoving the Onion Union off. Tale of Two Fates there. 437 to 124.
124. Oh dear, that is not good. Onion Union did not need that at all. Team Mayhem and the Grayscales coming down now. Let's see if they can follow that up. The Grayscales have lost 2. Team Mayhem have lost 1. And that's another 3 finishes for Team Mayhem. But Grayscales do combat it with one of their own. But Team Mayhem will sizably beat the Grayscales here.
This is surprising. You remember what the Grayscales did in balancing in Season 2, but Team Mayhem have comfortably beaten them 473. That is similar to what the Grayscales did last season. But now, Navy SEALs and Team Sunrise in Run 3.
Of course, we can't be too surprised.
Navy SEALs very...
Of course, we can't be too surprised. The beam is quite a bit wider in this one compared to Season 2, so seeing a bunch of finishes is still very impressive, but it's gonna be a lot more frequent than it was in Season 2. You see, Team Sunrise only had 1 to Navy SEALs 2 finishes, but 346 to 311, 3rd and 5th, it's a much closer battle between the two, but a bit further down in the overall standings.
Now, Hell Clowns and Lagoon Platoon. Lagoon Platoon, all of them keeping it on the board, but so are the Hell Clowns, and one of the Lagoon Platoon bounces off the block, and I don't know if that'll be counted as a finisher. But regardless, good runs from both of these teams, I'd have to think.
Absolute carnage at the bottom of the track there. You see, the Lagoon Platoon do stay on the track and see will that count as a finisher, and it does! 3 finishes, 479, oh my god. Genius by that Lagoon Platoon member. He bumps into the block, knocking off several Hell Clowns members. They put the battle into balanced battle there, and have taken a commanding lead.
Now, Marauders and Neptune Nomads. Marauders trying to work together as a team, trying to block the Neptune Nomads off, but it's not working for them. Neptune Nomads, they focused on balancing, they focused on getting 3 finishers, and 3 finishers they did get, compared to just 2 for the Marauders. We'll have to see how it compares. 3rd for the Neptune Nomads before 48.
You see the Marauders, they seem to be like kamikazing multiple Neptune Nomads members. Their strategy involved a lot of contact, and you see, it doesn't work like that. All the top 4 with 3 finishes. Lagoon Platoon, only a 6-point lead over Team Mayhem, and it's a very close battle as we head into the second half of this event with Jade Jockeys and Steel Force.
Steel Force much faster out of the gate, but Jade Jockeys get 2 finishes compared to just 1 for the Steel Force. Look at this, Tale of Two Fates here out of the gate, but then Jade Jockeys, they have better balancing right at the end, and I think they might actually come away with this by just 12 points between those two.
Very close there. Citrus Sprinters and the Moneymakers. They've seen the large scores we put down. I imagine they're rather terrified going into this. But look at the Citrus Sprinters. All of them are on the board till the very end. They get all of theirs past what look to be very high numbers. And 3 to the bottom, but Moneymakers lost 2 early. Still 2 to the bottom. They'll have to see where these scores shake out once those standings come up. And it's a 496. The Citrus Sprinters have taken a commanding lead and a half.
The Citrus Sprinters, I don't think anyone's beating that. Everyone pretty much playing for 2nd place. Croissant Crew, they're playing for 3 finishes. Meanwhile, the Condiment Kings, that was awful out of the gate. You have 3 marbles, 2 marbles going very quick to the far side. One of them not making it to the end, just barely. But then they will go all the way into 15th out of 16. Croissant Crew, decent 7th.
Had that last Condiment King actually bumped the Croissant Crew safely over the line. That was a bit of a mistake by them, I imagine. As we go on to this next one, and a very slow start by the Sweet and Sours, which actually works very well. They get the beam pretty much to themselves as the Popsicles. Look at this. Terrible. All's drifted well off to that side, while Sweet and Sours charge the beam and get 2 to the end, which is definitely going to put them above, but I don't think it'll put them toward the front. In 6th place, still not a bad result at all, but Popsicles 17th.
Now, Crazy Chickens and Silly Slimes, we saw a very interesting strategy in the previous heat. Will anyone emulate that? I don't think they did in this heat. 3 for the Crazy Chickens. They will make it to the end, but not the Silly Slime, despite having success in this event in the past. They have 3 marbles very quick off to the far side.
Here's the Chickens 2 to the bottom, but they're considering multiple for 3. The Chickens will hold on to 8th place. Not a bad result overall. Silly Slimes 18th. They're not looking too good in these first 3 events. We have to look for what the standings, but Citrus Sprinters paced the field with a fantastic run. Lagoon Platoon and Team Mayhem for a 2nd bronze in a row. Team Mayhem, they're looking pretty good for their maiden qualifier here. We'll have to look at those standings. Let's see. On the cusp, you see Jade Jockeys, Popsicles, Navy SEALs, and the Chickens for some example, but it is still anyone's game. No one is safely through yet.
And I don't think anyone's eliminated yet. Moneymakers are down in 15 points, but that is only a few points away from the qualification zone. So it's all to play for here in the final event. And what better than the Funnel Classic to see who qualifies and who doesn't.
And there you see, it is now 2 green funnels at the bottom instead of just one, just like in that team funnel pursuit. But here you see the entire Expedition Team squad. This is the group that will be showing us how the events are done before each event of Season 3 of Tour de Endurance. You see there's a couple new ones, but they're mostly showing us how this event works. But I think we all want to see those green funnels. These top ones and the orange ones, you know how they work. But there you see, it can really just spread the field. They're crawling around these openings down below. And it really just, there's 2 packs here. You see those 4 in the top funnel, the Ash Risers, Black Holes, Royal Blues, and Flash Fires, doing a fantastic job refusing to fall on through. That's what you want to be doing in this final event to try and get yourself into those qualifying spots.
Those green funnels, we saw them in the final event. They crowned the champion, but we have many of these teams haven't even encountered one of them, let alone 2, and this is going to see who qualifies, who can tame the green funnels in this final qualifying event.
And there you see the Expedition run 2:26.27. That's going to blow the final classic record out of the water for Season 3. So this is going to be set by one of these competitors. Here we see the first group from the Popsicles down to the Navy SEALs. This is going to be an absolute battle. I cannot wait to see how this pans out.
And of course, once these marbles are done, we still have the other heat, so it's all to play for. No one is safe until the last marble of the second heat done. But we can see in the first heat, White Knights looking good, and it's the Navy SEALs up there too, if they get bumped from the White Knights.
Pushed on through, it is Milk from the White Knights who takes a commanding lead for now. Of course, Milk showed great prowess in these kinds of funnels. In the Team Funnel Descent, won 2 of the races. So starting to become a bit of a funnel titan as Milk, and holds the lead, but it looks like over the Grayscales, who've fallen through to those orange funnels. Meanwhile, look down below, Croissant Crew are already across that bridge into the second half of the track, while Neptune Nomads are soon to follow, while Milk has only just come through into the orange funnels.
Croissant Crew, almost like 2 funnels now below the rest of them, but then another few marbles down as well. So you see the Grayscales, and is that the Crazy Chickens positioning themselves very well in the top funnels.
It's an absolute madhouse down below. There's a whole gap between chickens. Sorry, man, but Croissant Crew, Popsicles, and Neptune Nomads are all the way down there, while Moneymakers and the Steel Force, who just fell off the track, they're already into the second green funnel. That was disastrous for Steel Force. They're very much on that cusp, getting last place here, which is looking very likely is going to spell doom for Steel Force. That is absolutely dreadful.
Steel Force, you can see these green funnels, if you fall off them, you are done, and Steel Force is lost. We see a lot of more marbles going down into the first and second green funnel. Who will fall on through to get the penultimate position? I think that's the Popsicles in danger, but also the Croissant Crew. Who will fall on first?
Oh, it's going to be close to Popsicles fall on through in, well, 9th place in this case. And Neptune Nomads crawl about, losing to the Croissant Crew coming through next. But look at this top 6. These 6 are absolutely flawlessly taming this first green funnel. They just refuse to fall on through. This is absolutely astounding.
You could not guess who would get the win here. Grayscales have the lead, but then everyone is still there in the second funnel. They immediately bump the Moneymakers and the Navy SEALs. Looks like the Crazy Chickens look like they were going to fall on through, but then they don't. Navy SEALs go on through, then it's the Crazy Chickens. Who next?
It'll be the Grayscales, the Moneymakers. It's down to Wormtail and Milk for the win, and it is the White Knights with Milk. Again, more green funnel prowess from the White Knights here. They get the win in this heat with a fantastic time up towards, it looked like around the 2 mid-teens. That is very good benchmark for the second heat to try and beat.
That might be just what the White Knights and Milk need to punch their ticket into Tour de Endurance in Season 3, but we still have the second heat. All of these marbles staying on the sidelines. They can only watch and hope that they have done enough.
I just saw that Steel Force crash in slow motion. It is painful to watch. That mistake, just jumping off the track into the green funnels, has probably costed them qualification. Last place is dreadful to get in this case, but look at those 6. They just refuse to fall on through, and Milk, 2:14 flat, will take the lead provisionally, but this whole second group is going to have to try and take them down. Let's see who we got, and there they are.
We have some favorite teams such as the Jade Jockeys, very well known for their funnel prowess, trying to do well here and qualify. Also have some of the other winners of funnel elimination race, the Lagoon Platoon. We'll see how they do in this final heat of the final event.
Of course, Emerald, of the Jade Jockeys, a funnel master, along with Marge, who just won that funnel elimination race, and Cookie, who has won the final event, or placed on the podium. Cookie of Sweet and Sours has gotten in the top 3 several times across Season 2. But it is currently the Citrus Sprinters and, of course, the Jade Jockeys, who, as I say that, have taken the lead over the rest of the pack.
I don't think people are surprised about them, but everyone down into the Citrus Sprinters, down in the back. They were just one balanced battle, but they're not going to have guaranteed qualification if they have a bad result here. We'll have to see if they're able to bring it back.
There's still plenty of time to bring it back. Those green funnels can bring anyone back. There's a three-way battle up the top. It's Onion Union, J Jockeys, and Lagoon Platoon. Of course, Emerald and Marsh currently leading the pack, but Hellclans pushed on through. As you can see, there are still some. No one's they're refusing to fall into those green funnels. They know what kind of a bloodbath those green funnels are going to pose, but Sweet and Sours are the first one to drop one in, while Marsh paces the field over everybody else.
Then we have 3 in the green funnel. Will anyone else drop on through before we see another one go down into the final green funnel? A whole bunch of marbles dropping on through now. So we see the Lagoon Platoon, J Jockeys, and Onion Union. These top 3 have paced the rest of the field. Will they be able to hold it though? Lagoon Platoon falls on through.
And there you see Emerald, and Emerald loses out to the Onion Union, but look at this. Everybody is in one funnel all together. This is going to be complete madness. It makes sense for Team Mayhem to be in this heat, but look at the J Jockeys. They're completely going around everyone as they start to pile on through. The J Jockeys living up to their funnel prowess. They're still flying around that opening as everyone else is already into that second green funnel.
Everyone's coming to a stop in the middle of the green funnel, while the J-Jockey just rotating, taking their time as the Citrus Sprinters fall on through first, then his Team Mayhem, then a bunch of other marbles. Who's going to win and who's going to qualify? It is the J-Jockeys, easily going to get the win.
Oh my goodness, look at this. 206, they have to beat 214. They still have this whole green funnel to themselves. No impacts, no slowdowns. There you see that time ticking up. 13. 14. The J Jockeys have won this final event. We shouldn't be surprised, but what a win. Absolutely flawless green funnel taming from the J Jockeys. They're just showing off at this point. Look at them. The competitors are getting more angry. The more they spin around, it's going to be a fantastic time for Emerald. That is just astounding. I cannot believe it.
I think Emerald's going to be very pleased for themselves, knowing that they might have just clinched qualification, but it is not done until we finally see the final standings. Who will qualify for Tour de Endurance Season 3?
We're just going to look at these replays first. You can see some of the madness at Sweet and Sour's first fallen through. Marsh, just terrible things happened to Marsh in the green funnels. They just absolutely fell apart. They fell to 4th here, I believe. Then they just fell to 9th, finishing in 9th place in the race. But look at them just crawling around that opening while the J Jockeys completely slaughter them, laughing as they do so. And then the rest just... And there you see, Emerald wins. Onion Union to 8th. Emerald was so far ahead, everyone else just finishes in mid-pack, but now the standings are coming. It's going to be very close. People waiting in immense anticipation, sitting in their stands, waiting, terrified for who qualified.
It is the J Jockeys, White Knights, and Marauders. Final podium of the funnels. But who will stand at the top of the final standings? White Knights, Grayscales, J Jockeys top 3. But then we see those 8 teams that won't be qualifying for Season 3.
Several favourites in there, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Team Sunrise, Moneymakers, and Croissant Crew all miss out. The highest from Season 2 was the Hellclowns, the highest to advance there. Several B-League competitors showing what they have in these qualifiers. Season 3 is going to be quite the crazy turnout with all these competitors. I cannot wait.
As the qualifiers come to a close, we will be here for the main event with the 16 teams that have qualified. We'll see you there with the Event 1 obstacle race.
From Ramen and me, it is goodbye.